Okay, so in this video we're just going to look at how to use if statements, or what we call selection statements in Python. And to give you an idea of what this is, I'll just do a quick sketch here. What we're looking at is if we were going on a ride, say, and we want to know if somebody is tall enough to go on that ride, for example. And so what we're going to do is we would first of all take the input, which would be the height from our user, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do an if statement, like a conditional statement. So we're just going to test. Now we're going to say, is it, say, greater than 105 centimeters? I think that's about the height limit at a lot of Disney rides. Now if it is successful, so in other words it passes the test, then what we'll do is we'll print a message saying yes, you can go on the ride. If it's not, then we will say sorry, you can't. So that's kind of how it works. It's almost, sometimes you'll see these referred to as branching statements, because you can see the flow of our program branches. It can either go off in the yes direction, or it can go off in the no direction. Okay, so we're just going to write a quick program that does that. So let's get these two open. So here we are. So what we're going to do is we'll start with is adjust the height limit. So we'll set up a variable called height limit, and we'll make that 105. So we'll have it in centimeters. And then the next thing we do is we need to take that user input. So what we'll do is we'll set a variable called height. We'll make it an integer and use the input command, and we'll just ask them to enter their height. So enter your height in centimeters. Right, so that's the input box that we saw before. Then the next thing we want to do is test and see if that is actually greater than 105. And so the way an if statement looks in Python is we say if, then we have our condition. So in this case here it is the height variable. Now if that is greater than or equal to the height limit, then we're going to do something. So we put a colon at the end of that line. And when you press enter, you'll find it naturally indents. Now you need to have that indent there. As long as it's indented, this is what will happen if that condition is true. So we'll say print, you may go on the ride. Okay. So in terms of how this is working, the if statement sets up this little logic test. We test this condition right here. So if the height is greater than or equal to something, in this case a variable called height limit, which is 105, make sure you finish with a colon, and then whatever's indented after that will occur. So in this case we'll print you may go on the ride. So if we just test this, it says enter your height. So if I'm 110 centimeters, there you go. Now what you will notice though is nothing happens if I'm less than 105. The program just ends. So that's the second part of an if statement, is often what happens if the condition is not met. In other words, this little test here is not true, it's false. And what we do there is we put an else. So that is not indented, so that goes back out, so it's in line with the if statement. And then we could say print you are too short for this ride. Okay, so what we've got now is we've got something that will happen if the condition is true, and the else means this will happen if the condition is false. So if we just save that and test it, this time now when I enter my height in centimeters and it's too short, there you go. We get the condition's not met, therefore we get the other message. So that is a basic if and else statement. Now you can also have multiple conditions, and we'll have a look at those in the next video.